Hello, everyone. It's Will, and I'm here with another Pick a Card reading. So I've chosen 3 crystals, and I've taken the Major Arcana out of my deck. I'm using the Squid Cake Tarot again with these beautiful backs. So I'll tell you the names of each crystal, each gem, and then we'll choose 3 significator cards just from the major arcana, pair one of them with each of the crystals, and we'll go from there. The question we're working with today is a relationship question, and the question is, does this person just want to be friends, or could there be something more? So I've got my major arcana here. I've been shuffling them, but I'm going to shuffle them a little more, as you can see me doing here. So it'll be totally random. Okay. Let's see what we've got. So the first crystal is Epidote. The second is Desert Rose Selenite. And the third is Black Agate. So let's take one card from the major arcana, and left to right we'll pair them. Judgment for the Epidote. So pile 1, if you're drawn towards the Epidote, if you're drawn towards the Judgment card, then this is your group, your pile. With the Desert Rose, we have the Wheel of Fortune. If you're drawn towards the Desert Rose, if you're drawn towards the Wheel of Fortune, this is your pile. And with the Black Agate, we have the Devil. If you're drawn towards the Black Agate, if you're drawn towards the Devil card, then that is your pile. Okay. So please think for a moment, feel, maybe pause the video and decide. Do you feel Judgment and Epidote, number 1, the Wheel of Fortune and Desert Rose, number 2, or the Devil with Black Agate, number 3? You'll find the timestamps below for each of these piles, and I look forward to seeing you in your reading. Let's see what we can say about this question. Do they just want to be friends, or could there be something more? Hello, Group 1. Welcome to your reading. I've got your significator card here, Judgment, and the Epidote crystal that you chose. I'll set the crystal to the side so that I've got plenty of space for the cards here. And of course, I've been shuffling my deck prior to starting. I'm going to continue shuffling now while I think about the question and I think about the Judgment card that you chose. So the question today is, we're talking about a person, and the question is this person, do they just want to be friends? Is this just a friendly relationship? Or could it be something more, right? Like, is it possible to develop this friendship into something deeper, like a romantic relationship? or just, maybe if they're an acquaintance, maybe we're just talking about a really close and deep friendship. But I think, something more generally means something romantic, right? So let's think about that. Let's think about judgment. This card, we've got a group of people, and we've got this figure in the heavens with a horn or a trumpet calling them. These people are awakening, they're rising up, they're being reborn. All right, and I will just set this to the side for the moment. Let's pull some cards. 4 coins. Okay, we'll start with 4 coins. So stability, holding on to what you have, not wanting to make an investment. And it's coins, so it has to do with everyday, ordinary, practical kinds of stuff. So maybe this person is comfortable where they're at, and so they don't want to take any risks. Or maybe this person is feeling like they don't want to get hurt, and so they're trying to hold on tightly to everything they've got at the moment. 6 swords. So maybe they have been hurt. 6 swords makes me think about adapting, moving on, especially moving on maybe after pain. We use swords to communicate, but also swords represent pain, right? We use them to fight. They're about conflict too. And so the 6 of swords can mean moving on after pain, or after, maybe someone's hurt you, or maybe someone's hurt this person. Maybe someone has felt like they were entitled to behave a certain way with this person, and that they've realized that it's no good for them, and so they've had to move on to protect themselves. It makes sense if they've had to do that. They've had to move on to find a new direction, right? They've started something new, a new passion project. Maybe it's a new job, something that excites them. Could be a new social relationship, could be a new friendship. I think of batons very much as a social suit. I'm not seeing any cups yet. So when I'm thinking about this person, whoever it is you've chosen, whoever you've been thinking about with regard to this question, they're not any cups, it seems, in their life at the moment. So maybe they're not feeling very fulfilled. Maybe they don't have any really deep relationships, and maybe they could one day be open to that. And I'm going to lay out 6 more cards. So we have a total of 9, and we'll see how they interact with one another. But these first cards indicate they might be on the rebound, right? They're holding on to what they've got because they've been hurt in the past and had to adapt to it and move on, trying to get their flower to grow somewhere safe, but maybe that flower is reaching the confines of the boundaries they've set for themselves. And so maybe they're thinking that it's time to move in a new direction, but it's only a 3 of batons. So this is new. 3 coins under 4 coins. So they're working well with others. They've got a job. They're doing something that gets results. It could be studying too, but something that's getting them some results in the tangible, material, real, physical world. And often three of coins represents working together, collaborating with other people to help them get those results. But again, when they're interacting with others, it's coins, not cups, for example. So their relationships with others seem to be built on a foundation of practicality as opposed to romance, right? So this is making me think more acquaintance or friend as opposed to, romantic partner. Oh no. 10 swords. It's really interesting that the suits so far have lined up in columns of coins and swords. We'll see if that continues with the batons. So underneath the 6 of swords, that this person has had to adapt themselves to something, maybe move on from something. We've got the 10 of swords. So underneath is really great pain. Too much, in fact. And it's, they may have felt like they've been stabbed in the back or just betrayed by someone. They may be overthinking things. There may be too many thoughts in their head. They may be exaggerating the pain. That's possible, not definite, but it's possible. That the pain is mostly, or a great deal of it is in their head, and it might be that it's not as bad in reality anymore. This card can often represent trauma, and that's something that happens with trauma is the thing is over. In the objective real world, whatever happened, the bad thing that happened, it's not happening anymore, right? But in the mind, it never ended. It's still going on. And so this person may be dealing with that, and that can certainly get in the way of starting any kind of new romantic relationship, or really any kind of relationship. So at the center of everything in this spread, because card 5 is going to be in the middle once I get all 9 of them out, in the center of everything, we have the 10 of swords. We've got great pain. It's ended. There's a resolution. It's completed. It's finished. But that doesn't mean the wound is gone, right? If you think about this ellipsis shape that all of these swords are forming, they create a kind of a hole, like a wound, right? This ellipsis wound. But there's still 2 swords stuck in it, right? Like it's not quite able to totally heal. And we have the moon. So there's a sense here of mystery, uncertainty, that something is causing great feelings to come up, pulling on this person, and they don't necessarily know why. There's like hidden forces at work pulling them. If you think about the way the moon pulls the waves, it's like being in another world, and this person is maybe confused about how they can get over this pain they've experienced. So we don't have another batons card here to match up, but we do get the sense that this person's trying to find a new direction, and maybe there's some mystery or uncertainty about how they're going to do that. Okay, we have a court card, the King of Swords, and this is our first court card in the spread. And I interpret court cards as representing people of any gender. So this king could be man, woman, person of any gender. And they're looking to the right. So we'll see in a moment what it is that this person is looking at, who or what this person is looking at or thinking about. But the King of Swords is someone who's very authoritative, intellectual, calm on the outside, though inside all kinds of things could be happening. They're someone who's reasonable, they're rational, they're interested in making a good argument, and because they're interested in the truth of the situation, they can sometimes say things that might get them in trouble or hurt people without even intending to do that. They can be a little blunt, we might say. So the King of Swords is looking at the Ace of Coins. Interesting. There is a little path of coins and a little path of swords over here. And they're in this sort of present and past columns. So this person here is looking at the Ace of Coins. Now that can represent money, of course. That's the most direct interpretation of the suit of coins. But I also interpret it as well-being, like personal well-being. It's about what we value, what's good for us in a practical sense. And I also interpret it as behavior, right? The way that we act and move and get through, we might even say perform in the physical world, in the real world. So maybe this person is thinking about starting a new behavior, a new aspect of their identity could be coming up. It's also possible to take a more practical interpretation and say this person is looking at starting some new endeavor. Could be a job, could be a new project, could be something really ordinary like, I don't know, maybe they're going to work on cleaning out something at the house or something like that. So there are a number of options here, but it's something new, some new potential that this person is looking to get involved in. And we've got more swords, everybody. Four of Swords here, which is about withdrawing, resting, protecting yourself. It can also be about restrictions in life, right? Things being restricted around you. So without pulling any more cards, I can answer the question. And so whoever it is that you've been thinking about, are they a friend or are they something more? And I'm not seeing any cups here. I don't see the lovers. I'm not seeing two court cards staring longingly into one another's eyes. And so my answer to the question is, this person is probably just looking for a friend right now, okay? I don't see them, maybe if this was a cup instead of a coin, I might say they're thinking about a new relationship, but it's not. It's a coin and there's swords after it. So this person's been through a lot, right? They've got some baggage. They have some stuff they're trying to work through. And so now is probably not the time for them to start a new relationship. One other important thing that I'd like to comment on is, when I do these readings, I take the significator card and I just sort of, at the beginning of the reading, I place it wherever it feels like I'm supposed to put it. And I put it here before I pulled the moon, right? So you saw me do that. And obviously I shuffled, so I haven't stacked the deck. But there's a really interesting, what I call a visual rhyme happening here between the moon and judgment. And so if you see, both of these cards have three figures in the bottom, three figures on the bottom of the card, and then one figure in the top, right? And so if we think of this according to what I'd call, following Camellia Elias, the law of transformation, the moon transforms into judgment, right? If we read it from left to right, these figures become those figures. And so I think that this is giving us a little more insight into how to interpret your relationship to this person. We know that you chose this card as your significator. So this is representing you or your situation. And this card came up in a particular position representing your person, the person that you're thinking about in the moment. And so they feel confused, unsure, probably have a lot of feelings. This can also sometimes represent depression. And notice there's no human figures here, right? I mean, the face on the moon is maybe kind of human-ish, but we've got like two sea creatures. Oh, and I guess three sea creatures. I don't even know what these are supposed to be. This is usually a crayfish, right? But they're not really people. And here they're people, right? So maybe your friendship with this person, if you call this person, get close to them, maybe you could help to waken them or help them to be reborn into their sense of themselves as as a real full human being, right? As opposed to a weird creature that we can't totally identify. So I would just add that I do think this is a case for friendship, and I do think you have a role to play here, especially with how these cards are interacting with one another. Okay, so I'll go ahead and end it there. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope that you embrace the possibility of a strong friendship with this person. And I hope this gives you a new perspective that maybe you didn't have before about your relationship with this person. If you enjoyed this reading, I would very much appreciate liking and subscribing to let me know that it meant something to you and that you'd like to see more of these readings. Thank you so much and have a great day. Hello, Group 2, and welcome to your tarot reading. You chose the Wheel of Fortune as your significator card and the Desert Rose crystal. I'll put the crystal to the side so that I have plenty of space for the cards. And I've been shuffling the deck prior to starting, but I'll continue to shuffle here so that you can see me doing it. And as I'm shuffling, I'm going to think about the question and think about the Wheel of Fortune card that you chose as well. And the question, of course, today is, there's someone in your life, a person, and you're wondering, does this person just want to be friends? Or is there maybe the potential for something more there? A deep friendship or a romantic relationship? Something beyond a simple friendship. Because you chose the Wheel of Fortune, the things that come to mind are that maybe you feel like you're going around in circles a little bit, or maybe you have had some change in circumstances lately that were totally outside of your control. Maybe you feel like you're rising up on the wheel, or maybe you feel like you're falling down on the wheel a little bit. On the one hand, it can be dangerous at the top, because if you're at the top of the wheel, there's only one other place to go, and that's down. But if you're at the bottom, well, there's only one place to go, and that's up. So maybe you're in the middle of a cycle of some kind, beginning or ending a cycle, or maybe you're just sort of going with the flow. Maybe you found a rhythm in life, and you feel like you're catching on to that. All right, a little more shuffling here to make sure these are ready. There. Okay, so let's set this to the side. Here's the deck. And as we always do, I'll just lay out a row of 3 cards, 3 cards, 3 cards, and we will see what we can learn. Okay, so your person is represented here. Their significator is the Knight of Coins. We've got the Knight of Coins to start with. And I love in this deck this adorable toad or frog, whatever you'd like to call it, that the knight is sitting on, is riding. So, what do we know about the Knight of Coins? Well, knights are people of any gender, right? And they're someone who's making good progress, taking action towards whatever is related to their suit. And so in this case, it's coins. So taking action towards what this person values, which could be money, of course. We know that coins certainly could be money, but not necessarily. It's anything that is valuable or that can be exchanged, right? It can also refer to well-being. It can also, I believe, refer to one's behavior in the material world. So it could be that this person is making progress on improving some behavior. The classic interpretation of this card would be that this is someone who's steady, steadfast, working to achieve something valuable. They're slow because they're steady, so they don't move very quickly, but they can go very far, right, in life. Let's see, they're facing mostly to the right, so what are they looking at? Oh, another court card, the Knight of Cups. Interesting. We've got a couple of knights here, and they are looking at each other, one of them making steady progress towards something valuable, and the other holding out a cup as a kind of offering to the first. Interesting. So this makes me think that your Knight of Cups, whoever this person represents for you, is in a position to deepen a relationship with someone, right? The Knight of Cups is someone who is sensitive, although probably not overly sensitive, like sort of intuitive and receptive, but not like too sensitive. Someone who's probably very romantic, and someone who is able to be enthusiastic about relationships. The downside is they can get caught up in their fantasies sometimes. Caught up in their fantasies. Okay. Let's pull another one and see where that takes us. What do we have? 5 coins. So 2 coins and 1 cups card so far. So the 5 of coins can refer to a change in money matters, but I think more likely here it's referring to a disruption of some kind, not necessarily for bad, but a disruption of someone's life. So the Knight of Cups behind them, if they're facing left behind them, we've got a disruption in their life. So maybe they're going through something right now. Maybe this is someone who could be money trouble, but it doesn't necessarily have to be money trouble. It could be related to a disruption at home. It could be related to a disruption in their own well-being, right? One interpretation of this card is of someone who doesn't have all of the resources that they need to thrive or even to survive. So we could think about this as someone who's sort of isolated because they don't have what they need in life, and they're reaching out to this other person. Now, you chose, obviously, the Wheel of Fortune as your significator card. And we've got this card certainly representing your person. But we've got another court card here. So for each of you, this is going to be different. But it is very possible that this card represents you. It could also represent a third party, okay? So let's lay some more cards out and see what we can find. Oh my goodness, look at that. Another court card. So there are a lot of people here, a lot of people floating around in this situation. The Queen of Coins underneath the King of Coins. Excuse me, the Knight of Coins. So this is someone who's in a more of a stable position, more in a position of power, right? So it could be a parent, it could be a boss, it could be anyone who has the ability to provide or care for other people, particularly, I think maybe one of these knights. I would think the Knight of Coins first because they're in the same suit. but it wouldn't necessarily have to be the Knight of Coins. So, and she, I notice, is looking at you, at the card that you chose for your significator. We'll come back to that. What's in the middle of this spread? 8 swords. 8 swords in the middle of this spread. So 8 swords is about feeling defensive. It's about feeling stuck, like you don't know how you're going to move forward. I read 8s as the number of progress, of movement, often of organization. But when it's swords, that progress tends to be stalled, stuck. This is the card of sort of being stuck in the mud, mentally, right? Not necessarily literally stuck in the mud. This is a card where you've got this tiny little flower trying to grow up amongst all of these swords so that it can maybe reach some of these delicious looking strawberries on the outside. But how's it going to get beyond this terrible thorny wall that has grown up around it? I noticed too, I'm not sure that anyone's looking at this, right? The queen is looking away. The knight is looking up and away. The knight here seems mostly to be interested in his or her coin. And not so much, nobody's paying attention to this feeling of defensiveness or of feeling stuck. Six of batons. This one is about victory and collaborating, working with other people, but not necessarily in a romantic sense. So, I'm going to pull 3 more cards, but I want to take a stab at beginning to answer the question now, and I may revise what I say after I see the rest of the spread. But if the question is my person just wanting to be friends, or is this person maybe interested in something more? The only card that has any suggestion of the relationship being romantic would be the Knight of Cups. I'm not seeing anything else here that is suggesting romance, love, or a long-term relationship right now, right? Obviously that can change. We all have free will and all of that. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future. People change their minds, feelings change, and all of that could be different later on. But at the moment, these two are looking at each other, and there's another person underneath who I think is supporting the Knight of Coins, but I would suggest that this person is probably working really hard on improving their material world, like their finances probably, or it could be their housing situation too. And I'm saying that because half of the cards that have come up are coins cards. We've got someone who is supporting the knight, and while the knight is working really hard to increase the number of coins that they have so that they can have a change in their financial, material, or well-being situation. And sort of like, I'd almost say this Knight of Cups is appearing as a kind of maybe obstacle to getting to all of these other coins. So this is saying, like, this person is working really hard to improve themselves right now, and they're not likely to stop along the way for a relationship. They're feeling defensive about it. They're willing to work with other people, right? To build things with other people, maybe like a career, but I'm not seeing a lot of cups here that would indicate romance, emotion, feelings, and all of that. Oh, but of course, as soon as I say all of that, everyone, of course, then I pull the 8 of Cups, don't I? So down underneath the Knight, we've got the Queen of Coins, and underneath her, we've got the 8 of Cups. I said a moment ago that for me, 8s are about effort, progress, movement. And when it's cups, it's emotional movement. It's the movement of a relationship. we can think of these cups as each representing a person, an individual, right? And so we've got lots of different people involved. And these two in the middle maybe could form a couple, right? There are lots of people, but maybe two could form a couple. They're not a couple now, right? And they're separated from each other by the foliage. But we can imagine a change happening where these two get together. So it's back on the table. Let's see what the next cards say. 10 coins. This is about leaving a legacy behind. This is about having long-term security, long-term happiness that you can share with others so that you're not dependent on somebody else anymore. And 6 coins is about expanding your money, your material world, your well-being, your results. So I think right now for this person, having a relationship is on the back burner. It is a possibility, right? And I think especially if your person could reach a state of independence where they don't have to worry about being dependent on whoever the Queen of Coins is representing, could be a man or woman, a person of any gender, right? If they could not have to worry about this person anymore, supporting them, then maybe you could move in, right? And there could be some emotional movement here, some progress, some effort made towards a relationship. But right now, this person pretty clearly is trying to get their coins. And if there's any way that you could collaborate to help them do that, like if you're working together, or I don't know, we're going to start a business together or something, I think this person would be totally into that. Although they are pretty defensive about themselves. They're afraid of getting hurt, and they probably feel kind of stuck in trying to make this progress towards getting more coins. Underneath their feeling of defensiveness is this desire to leave a legacy, to have long-term financial and material stability, and that is more important to them than these 8 cups right now. The 8 cups are here. They want development, movement, progress in a relationship, but getting these coins and expanding those coins, that's what's really important to them right now. Another thing I would add is coins people show their affection through concern, right? By being concerned for others. And so this person wants to be in a financial or material place where they can be generous to others. And that's what matters to them right now, right? So the Knight of Coins, your person, isn't looking for a soulmate right now. And I suspect that you or whoever is representing the Knight of Cups, again, could be a person of any gender, are looking for a soulmate, right? Someone to fulfill you, fill your cup, so to speak. The Knight of Coins, your person is looking for a helpmate, someone who's very practical, right? Someone who they can work with, not necessarily someone who's going to be their soul mate, okay? At least right now. I think all of that could change if they can get over their sense of defensiveness or feeling stuck and get themselves away from being dependent on the Queen of Coins. Then I think this card could come to the fore and we could have some emotional movement, right? I suspect right now this Knight of Coins is wanting to move on, but because they're a Knight of Coins, they need to pursue those coins right now before they'll feel comfortable entering in on a bigger relationship. So you could certainly be good friends with this person, especially if you can help them in any way with their practical matters, right? Or collaborate with them on something related to their career. Okay, well, I will stop there. I hope this gives you a new perspective on your person, represented by the Knight of Coins. And I hope at the very least it was entertaining. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe to give me some feedback so that I know that you're watching, that you enjoy it, and it'll encourage me to keep doing this and to make more videos. I'll end it there. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Hello, Group 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Black Agate, which I think is perfectly paired with the Devil card, which will be your significator today. You chose. So I'll set the agate to the side so that I've got plenty of room for the cards. And I'm feeling like the devil goes down here right now. I've been shuffling the deck, and I'm going to continue shuffling now so that you can see me doing it, while I think about the question and think about why maybe you might have chosen the devil card as your significator today. So the question today, of course, is there's someone in your life, and maybe it's an acquaintance, maybe it's someone who's already a friend, but you're wondering, is this only ever a friendship, or could this be something more? Could this, oh, hang on, this popped out. I just want to look at it. I'm going to put it back in the deck, so when I have jumpers, I look at them, and then I put them back in, and I wait to see if they come up a second time. And if they do, 3 of coins, then I know we need to pay attention. Okay, 3 of coins. So, is this person you're thinking of, whoever they might be, are they just a friend, or could they turn into something else someday? Is there a possibility for a deeper connection, maybe a romantic relationship with this person? And you little devil, you, why did you choose the devil card? Well, there are several reasons, right? One would be that you're feeling like you're in bondage, right? Maybe you're identifying a little more with one of these little folks than you are with this guy standing up on the tree stump there. And maybe you want to find a way to liberate yourself. Like maybe around this person, you feel like you can't really be yourself, and you feel like you want to break the chains and, be your own weirdo self in front of them. The other thing we could think about here is maybe you need some fire, some spark, something more playful in your life. And a little bit of the devil card can be really great for that, right? Like if you feel like life is boring and not really going anywhere, maybe you need to have a little bit of the devil, just a tiny bit, but you got to remember, what comes after the devil, the tower. So be careful. You can visit this card, but you wouldn't want to get stuck there because the tower comes after it and everything can fall down. Okay, these feel good to me. I'm putting this back there. Our deck is shuffled. Cut. We'll remember if we see the 3 of coins again to pay very close attention to it. But we're starting with 2 swords, everyone. 2 swords. So your person may be putting up boundaries around themselves, right? If we think of this as this beautiful flower, but there's a kind of little barbed wire or fence put up around it. So maybe some boundaries put up around your person. Or another reading would be this person has an impossible choice that they have to make, a decision that they have to make, and they don't know what to do. And a third interpretation, and I'll try to clarify this more once we get more cards and more context. A third option would be an argument, like two people drawing swords and clashing them against one another. 8 coins. So coins here can refer to money, of course, but also to well-being, behavior, the material world, getting results in something like work or a project, whatever it might be. But something practical, right? Not really matters of the heart, matters of the household, matters of the workplace, that kind of stuff. And the 8 here represents movement, effort, progress, organization, getting everything to be very uniform. So I would suggest that this person is probably working really hard and they're skilled at it and they're good at what they do, but it probably occupies a lot of their time. Oh, and they feel alone. So the 9 of batons means that they are, they've been working as hard as they possibly can, and they're good at what they do, but they're not sure if they can keep going. That's the thing. Are they able to keep going? And that may be really bothering them right now. Like they might feel that they're at the end of their rope. How are they going to get through? They need help, is what this card means. They either need to take a break, they need to stop, go on vacation or something, or they need a helpmate. They need someone to come in and sort of take the reins. Okay, the Magician shows up. So someone here, this could represent your person. I'm inclined to think that it does, because they are the subject of the reading, and it's the first time that we've seen a figure, right? It's also the first major arcana other than the significator card that you chose. So this is someone who is working hard, just as the 8 of coins would suggest, and is skilled. They're good at what they do. They have the resources that they need to do what they're trying to do. But they're kind of at the beginning of the journey, right? This is number 1 of the major arcana. So they might still have a really long way to go. And okay, Knight of Swords is at the center of everything. Is the Knight of Swords. Card number 5, center of everything is the Knight of Swords. So this is someone who tends to be very aggressive. They can be a good communicator, although they've still got a lot to learn and to achieve. This is someone who really values the truth. And they're intellectual. They tend to be very calm, at least on the outside, although inside any number of things could be happening. They can be, I wouldn't say foolhardy. They can be reckless in the way that they rush into things, and that can really get them in trouble. They tend to have good intentions, but they need to be careful about moving too quickly. So I think the Magician here is representing, wait a minute, I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking, because I think it's very important when you've got figures cards that represent people, I think it's very important to be careful about determining who is who and who is doing what to whom. So when I get more cards, I'll know for sure. But what I'm noticing is the card that you chose on the right-hand side, in that person's left hand, there is a wand, right? And the same thing, or something very similar, we see with the magician. And so now I'm thinking, actually, the magician represents you, and the Knight of Swords is likely to be your person. And in that case, we've got you over here doing your thing, right? This would be someone who's very wise, able to take care of what they need to take care of. They got the resources available to them. They don't know everything. They're at the beginning of their journey. But here we've got the Knight of Swords, who looks like they are rushing in at this person. Okay, and behind them, over here, we've got 5 cups. So finally, a cups card is showing up in this reading. And 5 of cups would indicate a change of feelings, a change of relationship status, a change of heart. It can also indicate a disruption of those things. 5s are right in the middle between the 1 and the 10. And so there's sort of the hump you have to get over to make progress. And that can come with difficulty. At a minimum, it comes with change. 5 of Cups can be the card of feeling grief, or like something has broken up or ended, and you have to find a way to move on afterwards. So I wonder if this person is experiencing some of that. What I'm reading in the second line is very different from what I'm seeing in the first. And so we need to come back to that. But I think I'd like to go ahead and get the rest of the cards out. Okay, more cups. 3 of them, in fact, suggesting friendship, having a party together, having good times together. But it can also be the growth of a relationship, right? 2 cups that work together to create a third. This card can represent birth. Here, I don't think it does literally, right? But like 2 beautiful, fulfilling, wonderful things creating a third beautiful, wonderful, fulfilling thing. Oh, and a Fool. Okay, so maybe your person's a little foolish. And another court card, the Knight of Batons. And the Knight of Batons is looking at the Devil, which is your significator. These both, I think, may represent you. Let's see, but the Fool also has got these all. Okay. All of these figures have got a wand or a staff on the right side in their left hand, right? Our right side, their left hand, except for the Knight of Swords, who in their right hand is holding the sword. We need to talk about this and figure out what this is meaning. So most people are right-handed, right? A smaller percent of the population is left-handed. So we tend to think of right hands as being the conscious hand, the active hand, right? What we think and we know. And the left hand is the unconscious hand. It's the, not the passive, but the deliberately non-active hand, right? It's what we feel more than what we know. And so this is suggesting to me that there's a whole lot of unconscious stuff going on, right, with the left hand. All these cards are screaming left hand stuff. as opposed to the Knight of Swords, who is very conscious, right hand, rational, reasonable, thinking about logic. What do they know for sure, as opposed to what's going on underneath the surface. Okay. So one good thing to see here is the expansion of 3 cups to 5. That does suggest a growth of relationship and a change in a relationship. It's not reaching stability of any kind, right? We've only got odd numbers. If we'd gotten to like a 6 or something like that, I'd say there's some harmony in the relationship. But I do think there's a possibility of it growing. But there are a whole lot of people involved here, right? We've got the magician, who can be tricky, who's cunning and wise. We've got the Knight of Swords, pursuing truth and is maybe kind of reckless. Underneath that, they might also be kind of foolish about things, like rushing forward foolishly. And looking at the Knight of Batons, the Knight of Batons, this is someone also like the Knight of Swords who can tend to rush foolishly into various situations and needs to be recklessly. They need to be careful about that. They're all about fire energy mixed with air energy, right? Whereas the Knight of Swords is all air and air. So they're both intellectual thinkers in that sense. But I would say that the difference between these 2 cards is that the Knight of Swords is more concerned with details, right? The details of a situation. And the Knight of Batons tends to be more intuitive and about big picture of the situation. And this Knight of Batons, this very fiery, potentially impulsive, excitement-seeking, stimulation-seeking Knight of Batons is looking right at you, you little devil. So, let me see if I can sum up. For certain, we know there are 2 people involved here at a minimum. And we know that because we've got court cards representing them, the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Batons. The Knight of Batons is someone who is not seeking a soulmate. They're seeking a playmate, okay? And they're looking at the devil, you, which makes perfect sense. So this is telling me, I'll tell you what it's telling me. At one level, the Knight of Swords is trying to do this. Your person is trying to make difficult decisions, to make good progress with their work. They're feeling overburdened by it, but they're trying to find a way to defend themselves and keep going. And so they're very practical. They're using their head, right? It's at the top of the spread because it's sort of mind, right? But what's staring them in the face down here is behind their back. They're not even looking at it, but it's there. It's sort of unconscious, is their need to have a change in their relationship status, okay? And they're looking at this magician person who can be very tricky, but maybe they're interested in that person. Maybe there's some interest underneath what's on top, which is all the practical career and work stuff, okay? And then down here, even further at the bottom of the spread, this is where you show up, is the desire at the bottom of everything to grow a relationship, right? Even if it makes them a fool. They know they should be doing this stuff, but at the bottom of it, they just want to be a fool. They want to start something new. They want to fall in love, I think. And they're seeing you as the Knight of Batons, a playmate, right? There's 2 ways to read this card. One is it's one way they see you, a facet of your personality. But the other way is it's the way they see themselves, who they could be if they were with you. Right. And so they think, gosh, if I was with this person, wouldn't we have a good time? Wouldn't we have a devil of a good time? And I wouldn't have to worry about stacking all of these coins up and making a hard decision and being so exhausted from work that I don't know how I'm going to get through the next day and how is my career going to progress and all of that. So I feel like I can answer the question now. The question is this person just looking for a friend or could it be something more? Yes, it could be something more. And because this person is really needing a break from all of the rational stuff that they're doing, the work that they're doing, the decisions they're making, the progress they're trying to make in their career. They need a change of heart. They need to grow a relationship. They want to be kind of foolish for a while. And they see you as a playmate who can bring some of that spiciness into their life, some of that fire, fun fire as opposed to career fire into their life. So I'd say my advice based on this would be show them a good time, take them out, a night on the town, paint the town red, have some fun with them, but know that at some point this person is almost certainly going to drift back to the uniformity of stacking their coins up, of finding out how they can get from 9 batons to 10 and finish that work project and progress in their career. At the top of it, in their mind, that's what they know, but they're having feelings that want to take them away from that. And I think it could be at least temporarily. When I see the devil, I think temporary. We wouldn't want to be with the devil for a long time, would we? But it could be a start. It could be a spark. It could be something to get things going. And I think you could have a good time together. Whether or not it would develop into a long-term relationship, I don't see that. With 3 of Cups and 5 of Cups, I see something off balance still, something that isn't necessarily going to last forever. It could. That would be another reading. But could it grow? Absolutely, it could grow. And could there be a change of feelings, change of heart here? Yes, absolutely, there could be. Okay, I'll end the reading there. This was a fun one. I really enjoyed this. They're all fun, but this one in particular was a little trickier than some of the others I've had, but I liked doing it. I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope it gives you a different perspective. That's what I'm about here, getting you to think in different ways. If you enjoyed this reading, if it did something for you, if it taught you something, if it made you see something, I very much appreciate like and subscribe to give me some feedback. Let me know that you're getting something out of this and that I should continue to do them. I will end it there. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.